Hello channel viewers, I am DS, your psychologist, and welcome to another episode on Channel NITT. So I have been reviewing my life as an ENTJ, and I found that there is an adjective that hardly describes the ENTJ, and that word is popular. Not referring to the bookshop, but the adjective popular doesn't describe the ENTJ usually. Why are we unpopular? So in this episode, we're going to explore why the ENTJ is usually unpopular. So I have looked back at my life. I was never a popular kid in class. Neither was I a popular teacher when I'm teaching. So what about you fellow ENTJs? Do you think that the word unpopular describes the ENTJ well? So why might we be unpopular? So I found a few possible explanations. The first explanation is with first impressions. So thinking back into my schooling days from secondary all the way to undergraduate, I think that a lot of the elections are based on first impressions. Why? Because the elections usually start 1 or 2 weeks into the term. This is a time where people just got to know each other and usually vote based on whether this person looks nice, presentable, sounds convincing or not. The ENTJ, unfortunately, does not fare well in first impressions. Farewell. Now, why is that so? A very major reason is that most ENTJs warm up to people very slowly. A lot of times, I wait for people to approach me because I don't usually approach people proactively. It is very difficult for me to make friends fast. So this is the reason why the ENTJ doesn't do well in elections, particularly those where election takes place 1 or 2 weeks after everybody knows one another. We don't make an impression immediately. We are marathon runners. Personally, I'm not too sure whether this behavior of waiting for other people to approach us is a trait of the ENTJ, but definitely my trait. So on the first day of school, I will just sit there quietly, observing other people. I don't go and approach people unnecessarily. Even if I will talk, it's usually with my neighbors. I don't cross over to the other side of the classroom. I tend to remain very quiet. If a person were to approach me, that's okay, but I usually don't approach others. And till today, this is also true. So I remember there was a time where I was early for hotel check-in. So the check-in time is 11 AM. So I was there at 10:30 AM. So my friends were telling me, hey, go and ask the counter, go and ask the counter staff whether you can check in now. But I just stood there, I just said, never mind, let's just wait until 11. Luckily, the hotel staff was unoccupied. She saw me and then she waved at me. And that's how I got to check in earlier. But personally, I don't have this habit of approaching a person. Why? Because I think that I'm invading into a person's space. So I was given the time of 11 AM, so I would just usually wait until 11 AM. So the ENTJ is very rigid in this sense. So just now I also mentioned that the ENTJ is very slow to warm up. This is very true. Because I can make friends, but I need to know friends on a very personal one-to-one basis. I can't go from one group to another group saying, hey, hi, my name is this, and then, I hope to see you again. And then consider that I have already made 5 friends because there are 5 people in the group. That I cannot consider. So I need to know a person more personally. Then after that, I will decide whether I want to continue to be this person's friend. So in this sense, the ENTJ really loses out when it comes to elections and voting. Because they can be really very competent, but nobody knows it because it's just 1 or 2 weeks. Furthermore, nobody knows whether you have leadership qualities, but are only believing you based on what you say. This comes to our second point over here. The ENTJ is usually not a crowd pleaser. They want to be very direct. So if they have led before, they will say that, okay, I have led this before and this is what I have achieved. But if they did not, usually they will not even say it. But I know of a lot of MBTI types, right? They will just say whatever they want. They have the gift of the gab. So there are a lot of problems with the ENTJ when it comes to campaigns. The ENTJ does not like to overpromise. So This means that the ENTJ usually talk only as a matter of fact. Also, the ENTJ usually doesn't do with niceties. So this is why ENTJs usually do not do well in elections and campaigns, because there are a lot of people who have the gift of the gab. They can say, okay, if I become the president, I will do this for you. The ENTJ can't say it, because the ENTJ has to consider whether he or she is able to deliver that. But usually, those people who say those kind of things, in the end also never end up delivering it, what? So in a sense, yeah, the ENTJ is not being smart about it. So thinking back, if I had been smart about it and I went for election, then I just follow the flow of what people do, maybe I could have made it. Oh, I did not stand for election when I was in junior college, but I did stand for an election because I was pushed to that position in university. You know what happened? They need 2 candidates to stand for election because they say that, hey, it's better than having a walkover. So I was like a stand-in for an election. Of course, didn't get it. Ironically, the person who was elected for that particular committee immediately stepped down within 1 week. So I just took over a position. So elections and campaigns are usually based on popularity vote. And popularity votes are very easy to garner if you have charisma. The ENTJ has charisma, but the ENTJ must have conviction to show that charisma. So in order for me to know that I can do this, I must convince myself first. But if I have no experience being a student counsellor, then where does this experience come from? Do you get what I mean? So personally, I have also profiled celebrities in Singapore. There was one celebrity that I have profiled as an ENTJ. So in one of the years in the past, he was nominated for the Most Popular Artist Award, but he did not win it. And I think that if he were to be nominated again and again and again, he is very unlikely to win it. Why? Because ENTJ are generally not popular. So ENTJs are not very suave type of speakers. They need to know what they are talking about, then they can deliver. Generally, I think the ENTJ has this aloof, cold, distant look that really puts people off from liking them or feeling that they are approachable. So on the other hand, a lot of the other MBTI types, they just need to smile, then they will surely get a lot of eyeballs on them. However, whilst the ENTJ may not have been a very popular person, the ENTJ surely can score in interviews. Why? This is because in an interview, it's usually a one-to-one situation where you just convince the boss or a panel of people that you are capable enough to take on the position that you are interviewing for. While the ENTJ does not usually win by popularity, the ENTJ is likely to win by expertise, experience, and conviction. So luckily. Anyway, just to tell you a very embarrassing secret. In the army days, we have this peer ranking system or the peer appraisal. So soldiers in the platoon have to rank everyone else in the platoon according to how much they like or think that they are capable. I am usually ranked at the bottom. Why? Because if you're an FE user, FR user, all these people just stand out. In a very short span of time, like 6 weeks, or if the army course is like 8 to 10 weeks, the ENTJ doesn't really stand out. However, if the ENTJ is in a company, then the ENTJ is likely to stay for like 3, 4 or beyond. Then people will know that they are really capable, and that is when they might get votes. Otherwise, ENTJ, no popularity votes. Not popular. So does this resonate with you ENTJs? Do comment below to share with me. And viewers, if you have not subscribed, do consider subscribing so that we can bring to you more ENTJ and MBTI. Okay, I'm going to sign off now, and I'll see you in my next episode. Goodbye!